Later, I figured out it's like I like more higher margin profit, and then I can hold for a couple week or two, and then I do not mind being there if I'm gonna make a little higher margin.
Leather is very polarizing, right? Some people, they love leather. Other flippers, they stay away from it at all costs. And I think it really comes down to...
They come in different colors, so it's kind of harder to mix and match, but they have a lot of different options and variations. The only thing is...
there's always that fear of the unknown. I think that's really what keeps people from trying something with leather, is like, oh man, I have to go buy like all these different kinds of paint. I'm not sure.
I had a lot of help into the community on Facebook by asking questions, looking through comments, and even texting people that did and had experience in that, and just asking them what they use, what they ordered.
On today's episode of the Couch Pod, I'm joined by Luka Tejic, a flipper out in Huntsville, Alabama, originally hailing from Serbia. Luka and I have had the chance to get to know each other over the past couple months, and yeah, very excited to have him on the pod today.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Luka.
All right, Luka, so maybe you could tell us a little bit about your beginnings in Serbia. We've been talking a little bit about that in the past, and now you're in Huntsville, Alabama. So what inspired the move? Maybe you could tell the audience a little bit about your background.
So I'm coming from Užice, Serbia, and then I came to USA at first because of the basketball. I got the scholarship, like it was 1 year in Texas, and then next 3 years in Mississippi. After I got done, moved to Huntsville, Alabama, and it's been 2.5 years, and saw this video on YouTube, and like a lot of people just started looking at videos, Googling how to make money and all that stuff, and started couch flipping, and since then it was pretty good.
Yeah, so from Serbia to playing basketball, college ball in the US to now being a couch flipper.
Yeah, it's a long road.
Yeah, it's a cool journey. And actually, I spent some time in Serbia this summer. I went to Belgrade. I think you and I talked about that. One thing I was very surprised at is like how tall everyone is. Like the average male height is something like 181 centimeters, about 6 feet. Yeah, so you guys are really pumping out basketball players there. And I saw you guys in the Olympics. Yeah.
Ooh, the weather or something. We just like basketball, pretty tall. So
you did great in the Olympics too. I was watching the Serbian basketball team play while I was in Serbia. People were going crazy, but obviously, didn't work out.
It was during the Olympics.
Yeah, I was there during the Olympics in Serbia.
Yeah, you probably felt the passion and everything.
Oh yeah, I think it's the kajmak.
Kajmak.
I think it's the kajmak that it's all the dairy for sure that gets you guys so tall.
Did you try rakia or rakia, how they say maybe? It's like national drink, alcoholic, maybe.
No, actually that one I didn't try. I was visiting my buddy who is Serbian and his family's from Valjevo. And I did try a lot of the traditional Serbian foods there, like the kajmak, the cebap, the burek. Yeah, some like stuffed grape leaf thing. But yeah, no, it was just very cool and interesting to be in the Balkans. Never had checked it out before, but definitely on my list to go back in, the future.
I hope you'll be there when I'm there so I can show you around a little bit.
Very cool. So how did you get into couch flipping originally? Because, coming to the U.S. to play college ball, watching a video, like what motivated you to jump in?
Basically, like I started watching all those YouTube videos about making money online. There's this method, there's the other method. And literally just from the YouTube videos mostly and internet. And then me and my roommate, we started like even at the college. He got the truck. You even know him. It's Jerome. You said you met him too. So we just started there, bought maybe a couple couches. He had the troubles with the car, didn't want to run, tried to fix it, didn't work, where to store it. Little troubles. And then since moving, I started alone and I just joined the group, followed the steps, tried to do month after month a little better, try to improve and stuff, and yeah.
That's cool. And what is the market? I mean, so if I'm not mistaken, you guys were in like Missouri or something together? Like where'd you go to college?
I was going to Mississippi. That's like probably like 2.5, 3 hours away from Huntsville, Alabama, where I'm at right now. So that was like just like, I would say that as a trial period to see how it can be and could be. And then officially like started alone in the May of 2022.
In Huntsville. Yeah, got it. And so now couch flipping is your full-time thing.
Yeah, it's full-time.
Cool. And what do you think the differences are in the market, like between, what you're doing in Mississippi, kind of as a side hustle college side hustle, to what you're doing in Huntsville, Alabama?
To be honest, do not even know in Mississippi. It was like a really short, like nothing that I can get any idea of the market, to be honest. But in Huntsville, Alabama, I think it's like kind of average market where I see the prices. Maybe thing is there is not a lot of free furniture here, like at least not good ones that can be sold for some, depend what's your margin and profit, like at least. So in my opinion, it's more like you have to spend a little money to get something. So I think I kind of figured it out, which profit margin I do want to make, then what couches I want to get, how much cleaning it needs.
Interesting. So, how would you describe the market in Huntsville then? Is it like, are you serving like college students? Is it more suburban? Like, who is your typical customer and what do they look like?
Usually during the summer, there's a lot of college people that's moving, and at that time there's a lot of college people. But mostly it's like, I wouldn't say many people. There's a lot of apartments, but I don't have too many bars. Mostly like people that live in houses, some neighborhoods and stuff like that. I would say it's mostly those type of customers.
Got it. And you said that you had found like you're kind of in a rhythm in terms of the inventory that you're looking for and the price points that you're selling at. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when I first started, I would recommend everybody just, there is a free stuff, so whatever you get, you put your effort to make as good as possible, to sell for as much as possible. But later, I figured out it's like, I like more higher margin profit, and then I can hold for a couple, a week or two, and then I do not mind being there if I'm gonna make a little higher margin. And then also, I would look for something that as like new condition, doesn't need as much cleaning, doesn't need as much fixing. Of course, there is some that you can see that you can add additional value if you really deep clean it, and you can make like new. But that's mostly what I'm looking for.
Got it. Is there like a range that you typically buy couches in, like let's say $100, $200, something like that?
Probably between 100 and 400, I would say. It's been in cases that I bought even up to 800 or 900 for a couch and then sold later. That's if you can find and see that you can make still additional profit. So, but that's the range, like between 100 and 400, I would say.
Cool. Any particular styles that do well for you or brands, manufacturers that you're on the lookout for?
Standard gray 3-piece and 2-piece two sectionals are easy and quick, so I would say those are in beige color, anything similar like that. Mostly like the L shapes and the U shapes, pretty my bread and butter, I would say.
Absolutely. As is the bread and butter for many, many flippers. These kind of big 2-piece, 3-piece, neutral color sectionals that are in good condition, probably from like a medium tier brand to a high tier brand. If you can pick it up for 100, $400, you can easily make $500, $800 on a flip.
Exactly. And there are some hidden gems in leather too. I got into like painting leather a little bit and kind of repairing and looking. And in my opinion, it looks way better, adds up like additional look, like freshness and stuff. And there, if there's like no damages that are broken inside, definitely there's a lot of opportunity there too.
Absolutely. I mean, leather is very polarizing, right? Some people, they love leather. Other flippers, they stay away from it at all costs. And I think it really comes down to the experience level that you have with it and like in working with the material and being able to restore it, because high grain leather, it's like if you have a couch that is made with high grain leather, it's a quality couch, because like the price for the material, the price for leather is very expensive. So you're not just going to take high grain leather and put it on like plasterboard or plywood couch, right? That whole thing is going to be solid because just of the sheer level of investment that has been made in the material. But on the flip side, when you're dealing with like high quality material like that, it's very easy to mess it up as well. So if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to restore that couch properly, it could be a big investment on your part, and then you're unable to flip it. Yeah.
Definitely agree about that. You get a sense of which, even it's the hard over the picture to see, but when you come in person and see and sit on it and see, you can see what's the good quality and if you can add a value or not. Definitely. So I agree with you.
Understood. Okay. So can you tell me about the first time you worked with leather, any surprises or challenges that you faced?
Probably after a couple months of starting, I probably saw opportunity in leather couches, especially leather sectionals. The only downside I would say is If you are for repair, it would be the same as other couch. You have to get underneath and all that stuff. But for painting, it's only thing is if you need to mix the colors to get the right color to match, because you can ruin it and don't make any money if you mess it up. So definitely that would be the one consideration. But other than that, I wouldn't say there's many besides the obvious ones. If you can see, the tears and damages, but nothing like stuff like that.
Hey, flippers, are you still managing your reselling business the old-fashioned way? In today's fast-paced market, leveraging technology isn't just an advantage, it's a game changer. That's why we created Ivy Flip, the ultimate app designed to supercharge your reselling business. With Ivy Flip, you can effortlessly source products from Facebook, OfferUp, and Craigslist, all from one easy-to-use platform. Say goodbye to missed opportunities and hello to instant notifications when great deals are posted. Our cross-posting feature lets you list your items on multiple marketplaces with a single click, maximizing your exposure and sales potential. Plus, our AI-powered scam detection ensures you spend your time on genuine listings, not fake ones. Don't let outdated methods hold you back. Embrace the power of technology with Ivy Flip and put your reselling business ahead of the competition. Click the link in the description and get a 1-week free trial of our app now.
Yeah, and I think that's another important consideration working with leather is, you have to invest in the materials to be able to repair and restore leather. And so I know people that have 10 different shades of leather paint that they're working with, and they're mixing and matching, trying to create the right shade. Tell us maybe a little bit about that process. Do you have a lot of materials that you've purchased to be repairing and restoring leather with?
For painting is mostly the Barilla spray paint, and they come in different colors, so it's kind of harder to mix and match, but they have a lot of different options and variations. The only thing is you cannot see before you purchase it, because when the color comes, the only way for you to see them if it matches, but you can see by the pictures and stuff, get as close as possible. For me, I just bought maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe the different variations of leather, so it's kind of not that hard to mix and match it, which one works after you have it. So that's what I use.
Understood. Yeah, and I guess there's always that fear of the unknown. I think that's really what keeps people from trying something with leather is oh man, I have to go buy all these different kinds of paint. I'm not sure if this is going to work out. And so how did you think about that or process that when you first started working with leather? I'm sure there was a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, I had a lot of help into the community on Facebook by asking questions, looking through comments, and even texting people that did and had experience in that, and just asking them what they use, what they ordered. Just be curious, and people are really glad to help, especially when they had knowledge about it. So that was my main point of finding out the answers I needed. And then just by test trial, you do it yourself, and you just learn from the experience. You see where you mess up, you get better next time. And definitely you can start, even if you start, you're not going to be perfect whatever you do with leather, especially getting those variations of colors and stuff. So I think that would just ask people that already done it, and they're definitely going to have an answer.
That's a great point. You don't have to make the mistakes that other people have made. They've made them for you. You just have to be willing to get out of your box a little bit and ask them for help. And I think the other important thing here is that inevitably you're going to make mistakes. I'm sure you've picked up a couple pieces and fucked it up and you couldn't sell it, but that was part of your learning process, and it's helped you get to a point where you are today, where you're able to be successful with your selection and sale of the items that you have.
Exactly. There is a lot of mistakes that happen. Even the ones I think once or twice I forgot to bring a cushion to the customer, just makes you make another trip. So, and then in buying, and even trusting people online marketplace when they even tell you there is a damage and there is not a damage, and then you they try to hide it from you. So there is all those stuff that need to be careful.
Right. Yeah. And the important thing is try not to make the same mistakes too many times. Yeah, the cushion thing is, I think that's happened to almost everyone, right?
Yeah, that's just the one I just remember. So
it's annoying, especially, you drove 45 minutes, an hour to get that couch to a customer. You left one cushion behind, and that means you got to take another 2-hour round trip to get it to them.
Exactly, and it's hard to tell them, is there any chance for you all to come and pick it up? You're going to be in the town for the next couple of days or something. And you just do it and get over it.
Those are painful mistakes. So tell us about the business today. 2.5 years later, Luka's couch drops. I see you posting in the group. It seems like you're getting quite a bit of traction, and you're kind of the used couch guy in the Huntsville market. So
I would say it was my part-time. I was doing it part-time. And that year was mostly, I was selling used. And then later, when I became full-time and I saw the potential in this, my thinking changed and everything. So I tried to find some of the new furniture or whatever I can increase my business and scale up and do all that stuff. So it's been a year and a half, and right now I do have a new furniture, the new inbox cloud couches, and then now I'm working with you, of course, and I'll be getting more inventory from the return truckloads. So right now it's like mix and match. I have a lot of used that I'm picking up myself and still selling as I started. Then I have some new ones, and then it will be in the future. We'll see what's gonna be. But there's always plans. There is always things that you want to improve, and you see, especially. So, and I'm excited for the couch conference to see what other people are doing to get ideas. And so far, it's like mix and match, new and used.
It'll be very cool. And yeah, I'll be at the couch conference too. I think it's gonna be a great environment. See other people in the game that are of the same mindset. That the cool thing about who came out to the couch conference last year, it's a lot of the guys that took off this year, and I think it was kind of like a very eye-opening event for a lot of people. It's like, hey, like this is not just a storage, like a hustle out of a storage unit. There is real opportunity to turn this into a real business. And just being in that room, feeling that energy, I think really set the spark. It was a catalyst for a lot of the couch flippers that exploded onto the scene this year. So I'm really looking forward to participating again. And, it's going to be great to see you in person too. I expect that you're going to tower over me by about a solid foot.
I think it'll be fine. I'm excited too. I haven't been last year, and then, like you said, I saw a lot of people have so many positive comments and really good experiences. And like you said, probably most of those people are the ones that this year skyrocketed their business and stuff. So pretty excited too.
Yeah, I think cool thing about the couch conference and couch flipping in general is that there's an industry that's emerging here. So, 5-10 years ago, there wasn't really this concept of a couch flipper. There wasn't really a business model here. And it's really turning into an industry more so than like a bunch of people side hustling, in that people are going legit. They're, incorporating, they're forming LLCs, they are paying taxes, they're getting a brick and mortar storefront, they have a showroom. So really it's the next generation it's like a next generation furniture resale business that is mobile first, that is technology first, compared to the predecessors of like the 1980s and 1990s, sort of like these consignment style furniture stores even. It is providing economic opportunity for those that are getting into the game. And it's also providing a service to communities in that, people have furniture that they want to get out of their house and doesn't need to end up in a landfill. So we're making that furniture available to the next customer moving into that house or apartment. And it's also solving a big problem for the furniture retail industry in general. Some of the liquidations and returns that we've been working on, we can see that retailers, when it comes to processing the return of product or dealing with overstock, like they have, they've manufactured or ordered more product than they actually are going to sell through in a given year, that furniture resellers or furniture flippers are sort of the missing link in this chain. And because this community is solving and has potential to solve so many problems, that there's a massive economic opportunity here, and we're really just scratching the surface. It's super important and cool that there is a community, because frankly, if it was just you in Huntsville and then nobody else doing it, it wouldn't be as interesting and you wouldn't be able to help each other. And when markets like this get created, that means there is a bigger economic incentive for everyone involved, even if it doesn't seem like it at first, because you're like, oh, there's other people that are doing it, those are my competitors. But the fact that there are competitors means that the market is growing, and when the market grows,
there's always healthy competition. So, and like you said, even for doing this many years, not for a long time, I've seen the change in the market, in the whole business, and the invention of the searching apps, search engines, and the competition there. Then everybody is using it. Then it's like a lot of changes in a short period of time. And like you said, like the big companies have the overstock, the returns. They don't know how to deal with it. They are losing money. There's opportunity for us flippers to get in that space. So it's definitely gonna look a lot different in years to come. So
absolutely, that's That's what I'm excited the most about. When change happens, it happens very quickly. So for a while, couch flipping was kind of like this sort of quiet side hustle, right? Just a couple people doing it. And then you can see the traction and the acceleration of what's happening here. That's going to happen faster and faster and faster, just like with anything, right? Like, I don't know, the adoption of mobile phones and how that radically transformed daily social life, right? Now we have a little computer in our pockets that we walk around with. And think about, I was just watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's a show on HBO. Have you ever heard of it? With like Larry David. Okay, anyhow, so it's like this show on HBO. It ran for like 12 seasons. Larry David is the creator of Seinfeld, one of the creators of Seinfeld. I'm sure you've heard of Seinfeld, right? Yeah, so I was watching it, and because this was filmed in like the 1990s or 2000, they have the scene where they're lost in a neighborhood and they have like a map, and they're trying to use their map and they're lost. And the whole episode's about how they're lost and they're using a map. But like that doesn't, like now, and I was watching it with a friend. And she's like, I don't know, 8 years younger than me. I'm 32. So she's like mid-20s. I was like, have you ever had to do that? And she's like, what's that? What's a map, right? Like, yeah. So things can change very quickly in business and society in just a short period of time. And I think we're going to see this kind of radical transformation happening in the couch flipping industry over the next couple of years. And everyone that's gotten involved today and has a growth mindset is really going to be the beneficiary of that. I truly believe that.
I definitely agree. It's like you said, it's in every aspect of life and any other business. They are all changing day by day, and even the best ones in the world. So this one is also growing, and there's gonna be a lot of different things happening, and a lot of different people getting in, and probably a lot more people doing it over the years.
Absolutely. And what that means is if you have been running a couch flipping business for some time, but your tactics haven't evolved, and you're just doing the same thing day in, day out that you used to do 4 or 5 years ago, people are going to come in and surpass you. It's not a time to be complacent. It's a time to really be open-minded about what the strategies and opportunities for growth are.
I definitely agree.
So, and it's really cool that, I can see you being proactive in this regard and taking those steps in your business to evolve and, incorporate different kinds of furniture. You've evolved your marketing strategies, and, I've sort of shadowed you over the past couple months to see that change in your business. Where do you see things going for you in the future? Like, where would you like to take things for your business?
Definitely, I'm still working out of the storage units, so the probably first change would be getting a bigger warehouse. For me at the moment, I cannot complain. They are not really expensive storage units. It's easy to get another one if I ever need additional inventory, so it works out pretty good for me at the moment. But I definitely see a lot of advantages having a warehouse, a lot of different marketing strategies, a lot of showings and easier showing of every single couch piece. People can come and check it out. Now from surgery you have to pull it out every time, so if you want to see all that stuff, that would be probably the one change. And then another change, I would definitely incorporate I would still be mix and match of used and new furniture. It would just probably be in a bigger numbers, and probably using different marketing strategies, creating all the Facebook ads, Google ads, Google My Business. There's a lot of ideas about the marketing, even on box trucks, anything that you can scan a QR code on your own vehicle. So there's definitely a lot of options to try it out in the future. And the biggest problem is just have enough inventory to sell. Every couch will sell it.
That's a good problem to have, right? You're wanting your main problem to be inventory, actually.
Exactly.
So on a given month today, like let's say your average month in 2024, how many couches have you been selling?
I would say maybe around 25 couches, 20 to 25, probably.
It's a good amount for a solo operator at the moment.
I was considering also the high volume game with a lot of lower couches, but it just did not make much sense for me when I see other opportunities. So that would be a strategy at the moment.
Yeah, look, I think 25 couches a month, even 20 to 25 couches a month is a decent volume for a solopreneur. The mistake that I've seen a lot of flippers make is they get to like 30 couches a month, let's say, right? And beyond that, it's very hard to scale a couch flipping business beyond 30 couches a month because there's only so many hours in the day that you have to go like do pickups, etc. So I bet you at like 20, 25 couches a month in Huntsville right now that your costs are very low and your profit margins are very high. So I would expect, you to be pulling in something like a 70% net profit margin, which is a great place to be. Like, you still have some free time and, you're making good money, you have good margin, less headache. You're not operating a business like where you have like employees, and
It's a sweet spot at the moment.
absolutely a sweet spot. And I think if you're going to push past 25 couches a month, you have to incorporate different kinds of inventory. So this is one of the main messages that, I'm trying to put out there right now. And that's based on having dozens, if not hundreds of conversations with some of the best flippers and just seeing how they're running their business. No one making $50,000, $100,000 a month is selling entirely used, sourced off of Facebook Marketplace, right? Just simply not enough time in the day to go run around town and collect the inventory that you need to sell. It probably takes like 4 hours to go find a couch, pick it up, clean it, stage it, and get it ready for sale. And if you want to do that for every single couch, there are only so many hours in the week, right? And so super important to have different sources of inventory that you don't have to spend as much time on, which is clearly something that you're already working on. So I think where you're at with your business right now is exactly right, exactly perfect. And then, some of the plans that you've already mentioned for your expansion, bringing in new types of inventory is the right move as well.
Yes, sir. And like you mentioned, as a selling on a marketplace, I had a very bad experience. I was actually banned 4 times. And that's also it was like a wake-up call that you cannot rely on marketplace. Especially after the second time, like, oh, this is a repeating thing happening. So I'm not sure, never found out the real reasons, but I'm sure Facebook has their own reasons. And that's the whole reason. And I started my drop group and trying to think about other ways of marketing, because if we just rely on that one, it doesn't end up always good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a very common story for couch flippers, I think, especially this year, tons of accounts getting banned, and then like particularly listings not getting as many views as they used to, I think made people realize the fragility of what they're doing. So what does a typical day look like for you as you're running the couch flipping business?
Not every day is the same, of course, because you work on your own schedule, you make your own schedule, which is a very, very good thing. Sometimes you have a couple pickups in a day and you don't sell any. Sometimes you only thing you're doing is delivering couches, so it's like mix and match. It depends if you have a pickup today, if you have a delivery today, if you have a showing today, if you have waiting couches for you to get cleaned. So it's mostly try to get done in the morning hours, all the pickups and deliveries, and then have a little evening left for whatever needed, whatever social life I want to have. And then, of course, we all are on lookout. And if something comes up, that's a really good deal. You don't want to miss it out. There's late hours that you work sometimes. So it's all mix and match. Sometimes you work in late hours. Sometimes you work super early morning. There's, of course, days that you, at least for me, I don't do much. There's no many things to do. No pickup, no deliveries. You get done with everything. So just waiting for next step. So it's pretty versatile, if I'm using the right word. So, yeah.
Now, are there things that you have learned over time to become more organized or more efficient with your business, and what would those be?
I definitely like to get pickups done first and then have all the couches ready to get cleaned. Lately, I've been cleaning them in pairs when I have at least 2-3 get ready to clean them at once, and then just get them ready for pictures and take the pictures right after. That would like the best use of the time, I would say. And yeah, the rest is just to sell.
Cool. And do you think, like, if you had to put into percentages, how much time are you spending sourcing versus selling and everything in between? Like, how do you think your time is being divided right now?
Percentage of the day, you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Sourcing don't take much since I have an app I flip, so it's just notification that I check whenever it comes. It's just like really can't say it's not time because we're on the phones anyway all the time. From, let's say, do you say pickups and deliveries, like counting and stuff?
Like if you had to break up your day into different activities, or your week, right? Like what percent is spent sourcing, what percent is spent selling?
Source is maybe 5%, posting on Facebook and talking to customers 15%, cleaning another 15, was at 30, and then what did I say for 35, and then like half in deliveries and the other half on the pickups. Probably that'd be right amount.
Got it. So a lot of your active time in the business is just spent driving, frankly, right? Like between.
That's first, let's say, if we have a next step to get an employee, and to save a lot of my time would be a delivery driver and a driver in general that does delivery and pickups. they'll definitely save most of the time, more than 50% of the time, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's one of the first things that people should outsource when they're thinking about scaling their business. As a business owner, my belief is you're responsible for three things: the inputs, the process, like the model, and then the outputs. So the inputs are the couches you buy to sell. And then the model is how do you get those couches connected to the customer, like everything in between, right? And then the outputs are simply your sales. So like, the McDonald's CEO is not at the cash register ringing you up or in the back flipping burgers, right? He's making strategic decisions about like, okay, how are we going to grow the company? Similarly, for Couch Flipper, you need to think about high level, okay, where are we going to get couches? How do we get those things ready? What is the process there for sale? And, what is ultimately our sales and marketing strategy? How do we get it out the door? And really for Couch Flippers, I think they should be thinking 60, 70% about sales and marketing. And if you can do that, like you have a brand and every time you pick up a couch, you have the ability to sell it quickly, that can solve a lot of problems for you, right? If you are the person that controls sales, everything else can be outsourced, all the labor.
If we put most of your time into just selling, you are the right place and right bet. Because if you don't worry about other things doing in your business and you just focus solely on how to distribute your product to the whoever need it, I think you are using your time the best, I guess.
Absolutely. Sales, they say sales solves all problems.
Exactly. And this is also a good experience, just selling a stuff in person. It's gonna, later in life, whatever you do, you have experience with them, and whatever you need to sell, if you are still selling, you know how to do it. Especially if ever than anybody has done door sales, which is probably the hardest one. But yeah.
Absolutely. I learned that lesson from one of my old mentors. Sales solves all problems, right? And I used to think, especially as a startup founder, that you need to be a good executor. Don't get me wrong. Like you have to be good at getting shit done. But as you're part of an organization that is growing, you realize that, over time, it's not as important what you can actually do and like your ability to clean that couch or, how good you are, picking it up and inspecting the couch, and more about your ability to have a vision for the future and putting the right people in the right place.
Exactly. You're becoming from the self-employed to the business owner, and definitely different game. You have to manage people. There's different problems you need to solve, definitely. So.
And yeah, I mean, right now, like you said, most of your time is just spent driving, right? Like just picking up and delivering. And unfortunately, it's difficult, and you should not be really multitasking while you're driving, right? It's very dangerous. But I mean, I guess what do you do while you are driving to try and like fill that time a little bit? Do you like listen to podcasts or?
Yeah, definitely podcast lately. I mean, since I started doing it, definitely I discovered the podcast and everything, and I really like it. There's a lot of good things. Even if you just if you just take one good thing from one podcast and listen a bunch of them during the time, you're definitely gonna have some good ideas and change your mindset and everything. And depends what you listen to, of course, but I think that's the best use of time. And usually just get in, turn on my podcast, whatever his episode is next, and just go for easy drive and get on with the day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've talked to a couple flippers where they just really enjoy the process of flipping, right? Like they like cleaning, they like going to do the pickups and driving and putting on their podcast. And I don't think there's one right answer here. Like if that's really what you like to do and that's the fulfillment that you're getting out of this, who am I to tell you that like that's the wrong way to do it, right?
It was gonna be more satisfied, whatever, 5 to 10,000 a month or 10 to 15 than somebody who's making 30 to 40 and having more stress in his life. So it's all individual. It's all me. Definitely, if I would have to outsource something, I will outsource cleaning first. I definitely don't like that. But I don't mind driving as much. It's not like it's working. It's not that hard. You just drive. So it's just time spent into the driving. So
it's hard to say how to balance that sometimes, right? Like because we're entrepreneurs, because we don't want to be told what to do, right? We like having our flexibility, our own schedules, and and sometimes it might be more logical, or it might make us more money to outsource like X. Like it might make us more money to outsource something that we like doing versus outsourcing something that we don't like to do. But the thing that gives us more satisfaction clearly is outsourcing the thing that we don't want to do.
Even if it takes more time to.
Absolutely. And I think it has to be a balance. Like you want to maximize profit and you want to grow your business, but human beings are not purely capitalistic. We're not machines, right? So there's an element of like enjoying what you want to do. And actually, this topic reminds me of being in Valjevo in Serbia. So I was hanging out with my buddy, and he's like, before you go, we have to get Burek for breakfast. Right. And he was telling me there are two places in town that have really good Burek. They have the best Burek in town. And I want to go to the one like where my favorite is. But the problem is they open at 6 and they're sold out by 8 o'clock. Something like that. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the Burek place. And I'm like, wait, they're only open 2 hours every day? He's like, yeah, well, you know, they have their process. They get up in the morning. They make a certain amount of Burek. And then when they're done, they're done. And I'm like, but there's like a whole town full of people that would buy more Burek from them if it was available. They're just not making it. He's like, well, yeah, it's a different mindset, different lifestyle here, right? They're not trying to make as much Burek, open up a franchise and sell 1 million Burek this year. You know, they enjoy what they do.
They said they do it early in the morning, get it done, and they're satisfied probably.
That's it. You know, they make enough money. They like what they do. They make the best Burek in town. However much Burek they make, that's how much the town is getting. Now, do you think that's like a Serbian mindset? I mean, because you know what the American mindset, we're capitalists here, so.
I wouldn't say so. I don't really know. I would say the Serbian people are hardworking in general, but it's just a different country-wise. There's not as much. I was always thinking like this thing that I'm doing, it would not be possible back home because definitely like the Facebook marketplace is not even used that much. There's not even that many used furniture circling around at all. People, you know, it's definitely different economy, definitely different lifestyle. So, you know, it definitely be different, you know. So I'm not sure. Yeah, that would be that people, everybody has that mindset, you know.
Interesting. So what do you think the difference in mindset is?
I think when you see a broader picture, like looking at your life on like what are the opportunities everywhere else, what other people are doing, what other people businesses are opening, there is so many different ideas and things that you could do. So you just need to open your mind and to different experience. Like listening to the podcast was a big thing for me because you really just listen to people talking that are probably way smarter than you and they already experienced other stuff that you maybe want to go through, or maybe you don't, but you still learn from them. And then by then you just have your own ideas, and then you make your own thinking, and by, you know, growing and, you know, all that self improvement and stuff. It's just, if you work on yourself, you're definitely gonna have a different mindset. You want to grow, and yeah.
You know, what you said just a little bit earlier is super interesting to me, that you don't think couch flipping would work in Serbia. You know, I'm in Mexico right now, and I've lived in Mexico 2 out of the past 4 years in a town called Playa del Carmen. It's in between Cancun and Tulum. It's actually where I saw Duran, your former couch flipping buddy, basketball teammate as well. So I was like, when I was there, I was like, oh, maybe I should try to flip some couches, right? Just kind of see what the market's like. And well, I thought about it. I even tried a little bit. Yeah. I just kind of want to see what the market was like and maybe create some content, because I want to create more content about couch flipping, but it's hard for me because I'm not actually flipping couches. So I have to do more things like podcasts, etc. But I was like, oh, if I could flip some couches around here, like I get my hands dirty and be more immersed and get some better content. Man, the couches and the market is just totally different. Like for example, when we were operating the couch flipping business in New York, people are giving away $10,000 couches. Like they're just moving out of their apartment. You know, they're like an investment banker. They make $400,000 a year. They have a $10,000 couch. And
sorry to interrupt. There's just one difference. Let's say from New York to any other smaller city, like whatever, Huntsville or any other city. Big difference. Like people giving away free couch for $10,000, and then here, a couch that's worth 150. They're not gonna give it for free. They're gonna post for 50, $70. That different. And then just imagine that difference from here to Mexico, and then to any other country in the world in general. Where I mean, this business model, it can be anywhere, but it's all about the economy of the country and if it's gonna work there. I'm not sure. What was your experience? Do you think it would work in the city where you were in Mexico, or?
Yeah. So New York is its own beast, of course. And then, you know, in the U.S., the United States is very big, right? We have 50 states. Every state is a little bit different. But I brought up New York just to give that contrast, right? Because we have like $10,000 couches just being given away in New York City. And then in Mexico, oh my God, like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like the dirtiest, most like broken down, just piece of shit kit couch and they want like $200 for it.
And you were like, what is this?
Yeah, they're really just, the market is so different there. The mindset is so different there. Because in the United States, part of the reason why the market for couch flipping exists is convenience. People just want to get rid of this thing and they don't want to deal with it, and they're willing to pay for that convenience. Mexicans, no. Mexicans, they want to extract every ounce of value out of every...
With Mexican like buyers, even when you see like they are like even like trying to negotiate more, having more questions, more picky about the couch they're getting. And I don't judge or anything. It's just a different mentality from the, like, even for me how I think, and from other nations, so it's just different how people perceive things, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't even bother picking up these couches, like get any couches to sell. And
would you even be able to make any profit? Maybe, probably not.
No, basically there was just like, I looked at the markets. I looked at like what product was available and the price point that they're selling it at. I was like, there's just no way that I'm going to spend my time on this. Because in the US, you're trying to get the opportunities where you can make $400, $500 on a flip, right? And that basically doesn't exist in Playa del Carmen.
US is very different. I think even if you drop anybody in any area and then in 40, 50 mile radius, whatever, an hour drive, you definitely can make like a side hustle out of this thing. So I think that's pretty incredible, to be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, the US is the highest GDP country in the world for a reason. I think as immigrants, I was born in Korea, but I was born a US citizen, so I didn't immigrate, but my parents they immigrated to the United States. And I think when you're an immigrant coming to the United States, you just have a very different perspective of...
Oh, definitely. At least for me, since I came to USA, a lot of things is just different lifestyle, and a lot of things are different. And then even your thinking change, you see different things, you see that things are possible that you never even thought about before. So definitely like broaden your perspective and view on the world, and in any aspect, actually.
Yeah, I think if you're from the US and you haven't traveled, you've never been to another country, you look at what's around you and maybe that's good or bad, right? But you like this context in a way. And so like, people live in the US and they're like it's terrible here. But at the same time, there is still an incredible amount of economic opportunity. The fact that you can start up a couch flipping business and, make money doing this is, you can't do it in a lot of other countries. It just doesn't exist, right?
The opportunities are like very big, very different. There's a lot more opportunities.
While we're on the topic, do you think there are ways in which your Serbian background has kind of influenced your business approach, or any aesthetic choices, anything like that in the business?
Not sure in which way it can be. It's definitely my Serbian mentality that I have, and whatever I even bring from my own family, from my homes, how I'm raised and stuff. It's like even just like, hard work and all that stuff. But I'm not sure if you can see exactly in the business, because I'm working on that business at the moment. So it's definitely a representation of me and how I do stuff and, all that stuff. But I think that would be like best answer I could give you, I think.
Cool. All right. We're almost at our hour together. I'm curious, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who's just starting out couch flipping, they're hungry, they want to make money, but they're unsure like what to do, how to get started, what would you tell them?
The best piece of advice would probably be, you'll definitely learn on your own mistakes, but I would definitely say do not be afraid to ask people that already done it for any advice. Or I know when I started, I was a little scared to ask anybody, but whenever I started asking, people are very open to help you, and they like to see you, this is just the mindset of the entrepreneurs, I guess. They like to see others succeed. So even if somebody asks me something, I will always be glad to help in any way possible, whatever questions, like even if it's in my area. Like, I don't think a competition should be bad. It's always a healthy competition. So I think that would be the advice. Like, do not seek for the advice. If you don't know how to do something, it's better than learning it from your own mistakes. So even though those mistakes can be more, they teach you better lesson because you do it better. It's better to avoid them if possible. And that's the best way to learn something if you are in the same area of expertise.
Amazing. So, and they can even reach out to you then, I assume.
Definitely, yeah. Open, yeah.
All right, very cool. I think that's great. Really versatile advice. If you're just starting out, you're not sure what to do, reach out to the community. Try not to ask maybe questions that are so obvious that you haven't done any research on your own.
Oh, stop that.
There's a group, there are questions that get posted all the time. Do a little search, a little investigation on your own. But if you need help is here. That's the whole point of why this community is out there. And if you're really on the fence and you want some motivation, maybe come check us out at the Couch Conference, November 11th in Chicago. Cool. Well, Luka, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Couch Pod. Look forward to having you on in future episodes as well.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it, actually.